Hey, I hope you're doing well today. So today I'm actually going to show you how to make this subscription agent here. Now this is very simple, and Airtable is going to be really useful for you because you're probably going to use Airtable a lot when you're making your very own agents, okay? So I'll give you a little demo of how this all works as well. So this actually allows you to make like a new subscription. Let's just say new subscription, we'll call it Disney Plus for $19, okay? So we can see it making a subscription for us here, and it's going to display the results right in here for us. Now we can see a magical subscription of Disney has been created. Here's a scoop. Name, Disney, price 19, status active, and we also have record ID. Then we can get all our subscriptions. So let's say get all my subscriptions. And I'll just move this up a little further. And we get a list of subscriptions here with the total subscriptions being 3, the total price, so we know we can track our subscription, expenses as well. And obviously we can delete one of these as well if we like. So let's just delete the Disney one, Disney Plus, and then there we go. The subscription is gone. So it's cleared from the table and we can move forward. All right, so let's begin and make this subscription agent. So the first things first, we want to add the first step. So in this case, we always need a trigger. Now, what we're going to be using today is just the on-chat message. So we'll click that. We can go back up here. So move it around, place it where you like. We can zoom in and out as well. But now we want to add an AI agent to this as well, right? So we're going to click the plus button right here. We're going to click on Advanced AI. And we can see the first one here called the AI agent. We're going to click on that. So we'll actually configure this later on, but for the time being, leave this as is. Now let's just move him around a little bit, put him right there. Now for the chat model, let's go down. We'll use the OpenAI chat model. Now I have all my credentials already set up. Now if you don't have your credentials set up, look at my previous guide on how to make your first agent, and that will actually walk you through on how to get your API key and get connected and everything like that, okay? So we're just going to use Model GPT 4.0 Mini right here. It's fast, it's cheap. This is going to be absolutely fine for our case. So we'll move that around as well. We do want a memory as well. So we'll come over here. We'll just click Window Buffer Memory. That's the easiest, doesn't require any setup. Context window length 5, yep, that should be fine. So we'll bring that over a little bit as well. I also like to just rename them as well, just so they're a little bit shorter in character length, so it's not as long, you see. So for this one as well, I'll just rename this to memory, and that's good as well. Drag him across, might just bring it up a little bit. There we go. All right, now we're going to connect Airtable. So we'll go to the tool. We'll just type in Airtable, and we have the Airtable tool right here. I'm going to click on that, and we're going to go and get the credentials and get everything set up first, okay? So this is how you do that. I want you to go to airtable.com, get registered, get logged in. Once you're all set, you should be here, okay? So we're going to make a new table, and we want to click this create button right here. So we click that. We start from scratch. Very important, by the way. We can exit out of that, that's pointless. Now we do have some columns and rows here already. Some of them we won't actually need. So the notes, we can go ahead and right click, delete that. We have the assignee, we can delete that, get that out of here. Now for the status, we want to leave that actually. All right, so we want to leave the status, but we do want to add over here a currency. And this is going to be the price of our subscription, okay? So for everything else, it's pretty good. But if you do have a different currency that you use, you might want to change the currency symbol. See, currently this is $1. If you're in Europe, you might want to change to euros or whatever it may be, right? And the field name, we'll just put this as price, and we'll create. Now, just in the status as well, we want to double click this, and you'll see that the status actually have 3 different options, okay? So this is where we want to change, let's say, from to do, we'll say the subscription is active, and we also have not active. And for the third one, we probably won't need any more, so we can just get rid of that by clicking on the X, and we save that. And we want to make one more table here. We come all the way down, we see formula, okay? Now we're going to type in here record ID. That's going to be the name of it. In the formula, we want to put record underscore ID and these two little brackets, okay? Just like that, press create field and you'll actually get record IDs. Okay, so this is actually going to give us record IDs for everything that we create in this table as well, which is really, really useful. However, we can see here we do have three rows which aren't even being used, so we can just select all, right-click that, delete selected records. We'll get that out of here as well. You will get a few pop-ups probably as well, you know, on getting started and whatnot. Just ignore that. It's annoying, I know, but it's, yeah, it is what it is. Now, we do see up here in the top left the name. We do want to give it a name for the base as well. So think about what this base is going to be used for. In this case, it's probably subscriptions, but let's just call it Ken for the time being. So we'll call it Ken. Now down below here, we can see the table name. And for the table name, this is for subscriptions, right? So we probably want to label it as subscriptions. All right, so we can see here, this is also open. Let's just click that views, get that out of here as well. And now we have the table set up. Now I want you to navigate and press on the back button right here. We're going to go back, get out of all these pop-ups, okay? And we're going to go up to the right where your little profile card thing is. I'm going to click on that. We're going to click on Build a Hub. That's going to open this up. We want to click on Personal Access Tokens. And then we want to click on Create a Token. Now this is the name, so let's just call it Ken. And this is very important. I don't want you to miss any of this. We're going to add the scopes. So for the scopes, we want data records read, we want data records write, and we also want schema bases read. Okay, so we want 3. Take note of that and make sure you don't miss any of those. Otherwise it won't work. For the access, this is the base. So the base that we literally just created, which was Ken. You know, you don't have to use my name, but whatever base that you created before. My one's called Ken, so we're going to add that in here, and that's going to give access to this table, to this base. And we're going to click on Create a Token, and we get our token right here. So if you see this little button here, we're just going to click on that, and that's just going to copy it. Now, do put this token away as well. Put it on a notepad in a different file. Save it somewhere safely because you won't be able to access this again. So just make sure just in case you need it again, you do have access to it again. So we just click that. We save that. We come back over to n8n now. We're going to click this drop down. We're going to press Create New Credential. And all we have to do now is just click here, paste that in, and press Save. And voila, we're all set and ready to go. Airtable is connected. What I like to do as well though, is you can see up here there's a name. Change this name as well. So let's just call this one Ken as well, because that was the name of the base that I made. We save that. Don't have to save that. And we want to come back out of here. And there we go. Our Airtable is now connected to our AI agent, and we can do whatever the hell we want with Airtable now, okay? So first things first, this first node is going to be the node which creates the subscription for us, okay? Come up here, change the name. What are we doing? We're creating a new subscription. So let's label this as Create Subscription. We rename that. Next step, very important, and don't miss this. Tool description, it's currently set at set automatically. We want to set manually. Now, what is the purpose of this tool? To create a subscription, right? So that's what we want to be displaying in here as well, so that the LLM also understands what this tool is actually used for and its purpose. So call this tool to create a new subscription. Simple as that, okay? We don't need a large block of text, just a straight, direct to the point of what this tool does. Now for the resource, we can see here we have record and base. Now we obviously want to be creating records. We want to be creating rows in our table. So we want to leave that as is, as record. As we can see here, this is currently set to operation get, meaning get as in it's going to fetch records, not create or delete or whatever. In this case, we want to create records. So we're going to click on the drop down here, and we can see create or update. Now for this case, we can just click on create. Now, this is where we're going to choose our base. So remember before when we were naming our bases, our tables and everything like that, I named my one Ken. We can just press this drop down, and if all our credentials are set up correctly, we'll see our base actually pop up right here as well. So we can click on Ken, the table, which was subscriptions, If it doesn't load up straight away, just close it and reopen it, and it should open up. There we go. And that's it. Okay, so now it's actually connected to our base. It's connected to our table, and now all we have to do is put the values to send. So this is what the agent is going to be inputting and placing onto the table, okay, based on the queries and that we send it, okay? So this is really, really simple now. So all we have to do here, okay, so we see for name. Now just so I can show you as well, this is based on what's in the table. So we can see name, we can see status, we can see price. So if we come back over to our table, so we can see in our table right here, we have name, we have status, and we have price, okay? So this is also displaying here, name, status, and price, okay? So all we have to do right now, and n8n has made this really, really simple, is we just click this little button here. So this is the value that your agent is going to be sending to the table. Now we don't even have to type the code for this anymore. All we have to do now is just press this button. So press it here as well. However, for statuses, which have like drop-down selectors, we can't actually press a button. We're going to have to type it in. So we're going to put the little curly brackets here. We're going to put a $. We're going to put from AI. And then we're going to put a bracket and that little, I don't know what you call that, like little quote thing. And we're just going to type in type. And let me just verify that was, oh, actually, we're going to type in status, because that's what it was. So then we just place that in, and that will pretty much all be closed on its own, and we're good to go. Now below here, we also want our record ID, so we can just click add column to send, record ID. Now if we come back here, that's that column right here. And everything here right now looks pretty much good to go. All right, so we can come back. All right, so let's test this out, see if it actually works, right? We haven't set a system message yet. So a system message is just, you are helpful assistant. The LLM doesn't really know what's going on, but let's see if it works. So we're gonna click open chat. Let's just say create a new subscription for Netflix, $19. Let's see if that works. Oh, it doesn't work. Now let's see why this doesn't work. So we're gonna click this, and we can see right here, invalid input for status. Now if we open up other info, we can also read invalid input for status. The name, expression error, status expects one of the following values, active or not active. So this is simple, okay? The reason why this is because we haven't actually told our agent that we need our statuses to be either active or not active. So all we're going to do right now as a simple measure, just so we also don't always have to mention this to the agent, I'll just add in here, when creating a new subscription, default the status to active. Okay? So now when that agent's going to create a new subscription, the default status will be set to active. We don't have to constantly remind it, hey, put it on active or put it on this. It knows now. So we're going to come back. We're going to test it again. So I'll just copy that, paste it in here, test it again. Let's see if it works now. Boom. And there we go. It is now working. So let's just verify that that's also in our table and it's also showing. And there we go. We have name, Netflix, status active, price $19, and we also have a record ID. Now, as you can see, the active is actually in a red color. That's probably not a good representation that it's active, right? So we're going to click on this as well. And now we can just change the color. Let's change to green. And for not active, that might be more suitable for red. Okay. So now save that. Now we have a nice, beautiful, active little label there just to note that it's active. Okay. So now what we want to do is set up another Airtable node. And now that we've got all our credentials and everything set up, everything should be a lot quicker now. So we're going to create another tool, type in Airtable again. We want to connect our credentials from before. We don't have to go through the whole process, but just the right name. Okay, so that before I use Ken, right? We're going to use this one as a fetching subscriptions, you know, to display and show us what subscriptions that we actually have running at the moment. So let's click on Airtable. We'll put in get subscriptions. press rename. Tool description again. You remember what to do? So we've got to put a description in here. Call this tool to get subscriptions. We'll just say that. Now, as we can see, the resource is record. That's correct. Operation is get. That's also correct. From which base? Well, that's the same thing like before. It's going to be can. From which table? That will be subscriptions. All right. And for this, we can actually just leave it as blank. This also works. Okay. So let's just test this now and see if it works. So we'll come back here. We'll move these down just to give them, so we can actually see what they say as well. And I'll just ask the agent, get my subscriptions. So it goes straight over to the get subscriptions node. And we can see here the response is, here are your subscriptions, name Netflix, price 19, status is active. If you need any more information or further assistance, let me know. Okay. So that actually works straight out of the box. We're good to go. Now, next one, let's create one that actually maybe deletes subscriptions as well. If we don't want them anymore, we can just get rid of them, right? So we'll come over here, type in Airtable again. We'll click that. Now, same thing as before, we're going to choose our right, we're going to choose the right account and credentials to use. In this case, will be Ken. Tool description. In this case, what are we doing? We're deleting subscriptions. So we're going to write, call this tool to delete subscriptions. Okay. We'll name it up here as delete subscriptions. We'll rename that. Now record is set and that's good to go. Operation, we don't want get, we don't want create. What do we want to do? We want to delete. Okay. So if we actually look at delete, it's right here. We can just press that. The base, again, it's going to be Ken in my case, from the table of subscriptions. And then we have the record ID. We're going to click on expression. We're going to press this little button here, and that's just going to define this automatically by the AI. Okay, and if you want to see it as well, what it's actually putting in here, we can see it's a $ from AI, record ID with the string, which is the, the text of the record ID. So now if we come back, let's test this now. Let's say I don't want that Netflix subscription anymore. I don't use it anymore. It's too expensive. Let's get rid of it. All right. Delete Netflix subscription. Let's see if that works. It's not working. So let's verify to see why that's not working. So it's actually has deleted it, as we can see right here. But on the first run, it had an issue of deleting it. Now, the reason why that was because it was unaware what the record ID was. So it actually accessed the delete subscriptions without prior knowledge of what the record ID even was. Then it actually went through and got the record ID from the get subscriptions node, returned it back again. Now it knows what the record ID is. It then accessed delete subscriptions again with the record ID. And then as we can see now, it knows the record ID. It came back as deleted true. But as you can see here on the first run, record ID was set to Netflix and it was just lost. Okay, so that's probably something we want to remind it within the prompt as well. So now let's work on the prompt and really refine this to make it a lot smoother and better. So I like to just press on expression right here and then see this little arrow box thing. We're just going to click on that. That opens up this, and that just gives me a lot more space so I can see, rather than looking at this tiny little box like this. So you are a helpful assistant. Let's change this up a little bit. So we'll put 3 hashtags and we'll put role. Now we'll call this agent a master subscription agent. Let's call it that. You are a master at handling subscriptions with 15 years experience. Let's call it that. Now for the tasks, we're going to put 3 hashtags again. Task. We'll just move this one out of the way a little bit. You will be creating, fetching, and deleting subscriptions on, that should be enough. Deleting subscription. That's its task, okay? So that's what it's going to be doing. It's going to be creating, it's going to be getting, fetching, and also deleting subscriptions as well. Okay, so let's make some instructions. I think more specifically in this case that it doesn't need help in creating them or fetching them. It needs help in deleting them. All right, so let's put in deleting subscriptions. 1. Prior to deleting subscriptions, fetch the record ID first. All right, so something like that. So basically what I'm telling it here is to get the record ID of the subscription before you try and delete it, okay? Now that's gonna avoid the agent trying to delete it straight away. It doesn't have the record ID. Now it's gonna get the record ID first before it goes and deletes it, okay? Let's just see if this actually works as well. So before we continue with that, we'll go back. Just press save. It's a good idea to keep saving along the way as well. All right, so we don't actually have a subscription in there now, so let's create another one. Use subscription, Netflix, let's call it 19 bucks. Let's create a subscription for me. We got a little check mark, all is good with that. There we go. The new subscription for Netflix has been created successfully with the following details. There we go. Now let's try and delete it. And now let's see if it's going to go and delete it straight away, or if it's actually going to fetch the subscriptions first and then get the record ID and then delete it. Delete Netflix subscription. So now we can see that it's actually fetched it first, okay, delivered it back to itself, okay, so now it knows the record ID, then it's gone and deleted the subscription, and without it running several times, it's just deleted on the first time, and it all works, and that's how we do it, okay? So we can start working on this prompt a little bit more. Honestly though, it's we don't need to do too much. It's a very simple agent, right? But this is going to be really, really useful for you. So it's good information to know. So deleting subscriptions, then we're going to put in some extras. Now, if you might have seen it from my previous video on how to make your first agent, but I do like to have little emojis and have the assistant more, you know, a little bit more fun, energetic. So I like to put things like that. So we'll say, use emojis in your responses, be fun and energetic. This previous one that we made, we can just copy that. I'll bring it up here and we'll just paste it in here and we'll just say, when creating your subscription, default the status to active. That should be good to go. Go back to Canvas. We'll do a little save again. And let's make another subscription. Let's say new subscription for Twitch, $15. Okay, so it's created a subscription for me. Let's just double check on the Airtable. There we go. We have the Twitch active. The Netflix one obviously was deleted before, so we only have one. Let's create another one. We got YouTube subscription for, I don't know how much it is, 20 bucks. Okay, it's going to create that. Let's check our table. There it is as well. Now, as an extra little benefit, we also want to see what is the total price of all subscriptions combined, right? That's a very good thing to know. So we can track our expenses and really know how much we're spending every month. So let's come over to our AI agent. Let's open up the prompt again. And in here, we'll say, getting subscriptions. 1. When fetching subscriptions, display the total amount of subscriptions and the total price. Okay, so now when we come back over here and I say get all my subscriptions, we should have the total price and the amount of subscriptions that we actually have as well. So looking at it here, we can see here are all your subscriptions. Twitch, we have price of $15 active. YouTube price $20 active. We have a total of 2 subscriptions and the total price being $35. So that's very useful to have. So now we actually have a way to track everything, a way to place our new subscriptions in, and we can also see the total amount that we're spending every month, and maybe we can also, you know, reduce this cost as well and save more money, right? So it's very important to have. And I'll tell you what, let's actually rename our AI agent here, and we'll make this into a subscription agent. Boom, just like that. Rename that, come back over here, let's save that, and there we go, we're good to go. Okay, so the reason why this is going to be really important for you is because Airtable is going to be a very popular type of node that you're going to be using in a lot of your agents and a lot of your setups, okay? The reason why I say that is because Airtable can be used for a CRM. It can be used as your database. It can be used just to store things and display information. Now, do I use other databases like Supabase and everything? Well, of course, but it depends on what I want to achieve here, okay? So something as simple as this, having an Airtable where it's quick to set up, it's quick to use, it has a nice interface, as we can see, it's a very simple, nice interface as well. It's going to be perfect for most use cases, and it's going to be really valuable to be able to use something like that for your future agents, okay? Now, if you do want to go further with your learning and you want to have me with you step by step along the way, you can join my school community as well. We do have a lot of people here which are very knowledgeable, smart people. I do have some courses as well. It's a new community. I only just started last weekend, but we've hit over 500 members. The members are really nice, awesome people. There's a lot to learn, and it's just great to be in a place with like-minded people who really want to achieve more with AI automation and AI agents. So do check it out if that's of interest to you. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.